On the eve of my grand wedding, I joyfully drank the sweet soup my mother brought, but the next second, my mother used a knife to cruelly carve out the peony mark on my forehead. Wangshu, even without this mark, you are still the rightful young lady of the Jiang family, but Shuyu is different. She has nothing left. Just consider it your mother begging you. Just give the crown prince to Shuyu. She and the crown prince are in love, and if you hadn't come back, the one who should have married the crown prince was Shuyu. I was in so much pain I kept hissing. She was stunned for a moment, gave me a troubled look, but ultimately didn't leave the wound medicine in her hand. Don't blame your mother. Only if you're disfigured will this matter be foolproof. Watching her hastily fleeing back, a chill ran through my heart. What damn peony mark. His Majesty chose me as the crown princess only because I am the saintess designated by the imperial preceptor, and the empress is my adoptive mother. It has nothing to do with the peony mark on my forehead. Foolproof, I sneered, which pulled up my wound, making me gasp in pain. They thought that by carving out this peony mark, Jiang Shuyu could replace me and rightfully marry Xiaoming. Truly, utterly ridiculous. On the very first day I was found and brought back to the Jiang family, the imperial edict for marriage came down, setting the wedding between me and the crown prince, Xiaoming. Word on the street is, the reason His Majesty rushed to grant this marriage is all because I have a peony mark on my forehead, possessing the destiny of a peony. Such a remarkable woman, whether her destiny is real or not, must be kept within the royal family. It's just a pity for the second Miss Jiang. If the eldest miss hadn't returned, the position of crown princess might have been the second miss. How is that a pity? To put it nicely, she's the second miss, but to put it bluntly, she's just an orphan of unknown origin. If the Jiang family's miss hadn't gone missing back then, how would she have had the chance to be adopted by the Jiang family? Jiang Shuyu's eyes immediately reddened, and she left the Jiang residence in a huff under the cover of night. My parents and elder brother left me behind without a second thought to go out of the residence and look for Jiang Shuyu. The welcome banquet that was originally prepared for me was left for me to enjoy all by myself. After they returned, Jiang Shuyu had a wronged look on her face, her eyes like those of a frightened rabbit. My elder brother pointed at the peony mark on my forehead, angrily scolding me for being scheming, for snatching my younger sister's husband as soon as I returned, and causing unrest for the whole family. He called Jiang Shuyu younger sister again and again, but wasn't I his own flesh and blood younger sister who had been lost and wandering outside for over 10 years and had just finally returned home? Not his younger sister too, although my parents didn't say it outright. The dissatisfaction in their hearts was written all over their faces. They all felt it was unfair for Jiang Shuyu, but they forgot that Jiang Shuyu had been the pampered eldest young lady of the Jiang family for over a decade, while I had been adrift outside for over a decade. If my master hadn't saved me, I'm afraid the person Jiang Wangshu would have long been gone from this world. I curved my lips in a self-mocking smile, enduring the pain, and took a bottle of wound medicine from my sleeve. The imperial preceptor had warned me long ago that if I returned to the Jiang manor this time, there would surely be a bloody disaster. I didn't expect that it was truly unavoidable. After being locked up for a whole night, I was completely groggy, vaguely hearing the sound of gongs and drums from outside. I suppose the crown prince has come to escort the bride. Ignoring the bloodstains on my body and my messy hair, I desperately broke open the door and rushed to the outer hall. Mother was looking at Jiang Shuyu with a beaming smile, slipping a bracelet of excellent quality onto her wrist. Under the bridal veil, Jiang Shuyu had a bashful expression, from time to time stealing glances at the crown prince standing by her side. Wait, Your Highness the crown prince, I am the eldest daughter of the Jiang family, Jiang Wangshu. The one beside you is my younger sister. Seeing me burst in, Mother's expression changed, and panic flashed in her eyes. They had planned to let Shuyu and the crown prince consummate their marriage, and then portray Shuyu as a victim who married in her sister's place. With the bond between Shuyao and the crown prince, even if His Majesty is displeased with this matter, he probably won't investigate it further. Hearing my voice, Jiang Shuyao's body trembled noticeably, afraid that I would ruin everything before the ceremony was complete. Xiaoming's gaze flickered, and he shoved me to the ground, looking with disgust at the horrifying wound on my forehead. Then he slightly moved aside the sparrow fan in Jiang Shuyo's hand, revealing the peony mark deliberately painted on her forehead. The one this crown prince wants to marry is the woman of destiny. Who do you think you are, daring to impersonate the future crown princess in front of me? The moment he said that, the way everyone looked at me instantly changed. My parents also breathed a sigh of relief, covered my mouth, and ordered people to drag me away. Everyone, please don't be alarmed. This is a mad servant from our mansion who hurt her head yesterday. That's why she's spouting nonsense. Please, don't take it to heart. Only then did I understand that the person Xiaoming wanted to marry was never me. Just now, I was so close to him. The guests had never seen my true face and could only identify people by the peony mark, but he must have been able to recognize me. The reason he didn't expose the substitute bride situation in public was probably that he had already made up his mind, and was just playing along to cooperate with the Jiang family to marry Jiang Shuyao. The door to the woodshed only creaked open after Jiang Shuyu had gotten into the bridal sedan. Mother looked teary-eyed, as if she wasn't the one who had just ruined my face. Wanshu, I'm sorry, but how is Shuyu to blame for what happened back then? The position of crown princess was supposed to be hers in the first place. Fortunately, no one got suspicious today. Otherwise, how would the Jiang family answer to His Majesty? Your impulsive act not only ruined Shuyu's marriage, but our entire Jiang family as well. She looked sad, but she didn't even dare to glance at my wound. Just because Jiang Shuyu wanted to be the crown princess, she could ruin my face, but she was also the one who said that a woman's appearance is of utmost importance. Jiang Shuyu just ate the chestnut pastries I sent, broke out in a rash, and the whole family scolded me for having malicious intentions, for trying to harm her with something she's allergic to, almost leaving a scar. But it was clearly Jiang Shuyu's handmaiden who came with the message, saying that her young mistress has loved eating chestnut pastries since she was a child. No matter how I explained, no one believed me in the slightest. Now that I'm in Jiang Shuyu's way, they can treat me like this without any regard for the consequences. I leaned against the bed, closed my eyes wearily, and ignored her. This behavior thoroughly enraged father. He slapped me across the face and reprimanded harshly. You defiant girl, can't you hear your mother talking to you? Where have all your manners gone? He was so angry his chest heaved violently, and he raised his foot to kick me, but I didn't move an inch. Mother hurriedly stepped forward to stop father. My lord, calm your anger. Wanshu is just a girl. It's natural for her to be heartbroken now that her face is injured. Wanshu, rest assured, now that your younger sister has become the crown princess, she will surely pick another good husband for you. After saying that, she didn't even dare to look me in the eye and left without turning back. I forced myself to get up and changed into clean clothes. Then, I caught a glimpse of my forehead in the bronze mirror, and after a moment's thought, I took out a veiled hat and put it on. The Jiang Manor is celebrating a joyous occasion today, so the gatekeepers are all in the backyard drinking and collecting their reward money, with all the comings and goings. Naturally, no one noticed me. After entering the palace, I went straight to the Empress Fingy Palace. Seeing me in this state, a flash of astonishment crossed the Empress' eyes. But it was mostly heartache. She immediately dismissed the palace attendants and pulled me over to sit on the couch. Sure, aren't you supposed to be in the Eastern Palace? How did your forehead get injured this badly? Quickly, tell this palace who hurt you. What about the crown prince? You're injured like this, and he still let you enter the palace alone. The crown prince, right now, he's probably eager to consummate the marriage with Jiang Shuyu. I told the Empress everything that had happened in the Jiang Manor over the past few days. The more the Empress listened, the uglier her expression became, especially when she heard how I was treated by my own birth mother. She trembled all over with anger. She couldn't help but slam her hand on the small red sandalwood table beside her, making a dull thud. How outrageous. This entire Jiang family is a nest of snakes and rats. Not a single one of them is any good. Her eyes were full of heartache and suppressed anger. Then she turned to me, her tone softening. Good child, you've really been wronged. She reached out to gently stroke my cheek, her brows knitting even tighter. It's that blind fool Xiaoming who wasn't fortunate enough to marry you. If you hadn't fallen for that face of his back then, how would the position of crown prince have ever been his to take? I told you long ago, you can't choose a husband based on looks alone. See, now you're suffering the consequences. The Empress grumbled with a mix of frustration and pity as she helped change my bandages. I playfully stuck out my tongue and rested my head on her shoulder, nuzzling against her like a spoiled child. Godmother, Sure was wrong, but everyone makes mistakes in judgment sometimes. Alright, I admit, back then I was a little bit obsessed with looks. The Empress dotingly pinched the tip of my nose and shot me a glare of feigned anger, but she also wore a helpless expression. A year ago, the Empress personally went to Xiangran Temple to pray for a son, and on the way, she was bitten by a viper and nearly lost her life. I just so happened to be going down the mountain to make purchases on my master's orders when I met the Empress. Seeing the Empress' breath weaken and her face turn blue, everyone panicked. There weren't many people on this trip to begin with. Xuanshan is a remote place, and it's not advisable to travel strenuously after being poisoned by a snake. I stepped in to help, first blocking the Empress' heart meridian. And then I saved her life with a secret snake venom antidote. Afterwards, the Empress was grateful for me saving her life and was wondering how she could repay me. The state preceptor, however, said I had a unique bone structure, bore the fate of a phoenix, and possessed the look of a holy maiden not seen in a century. If he could get my help, he would surely be able to stabilize the nation's fortune and continue the royal bloodline. The Empress was already anxious about being sonless, and upon hearing this, she was overjoyed and immediately proposed to adopt me as her daughter and have me return to the imperial city with her. At that time, I had just found out about my own origins and wanted to go to the imperial city to verify them myself, so I gladly agreed to this, only because I didn't want to attract too much attention. The Empress did not make this matter public. Outsiders only know that the Empress adopted a daughter from the common folk and raised her in Xianxia Palace. Even later when the Jiang family took me back, they didn't know my identity, only thinking I was a wild girl raised by country bumpkins. The next morning, Xiaoming brought Jiang Shuyu into the palace to serve tea. As soon as they arrived at Fengyi Hall, he pulled Jiang Shuyu to kneel before the Empress and plead for forgiveness. Mother Empress, the matter of the substitute bride is not Shuyu's or the Jiang family's fault. Jiang Wangshu has a wild temperament, was unwilling to marry into the palace, and even destroyed that peony mark. Shuyu is kind-hearted, to protect the Jiang family, and unable to bear seeing the royal family lose face. She dared to marry in her sister's place to salvage the situation. Jiang Shuyu also quickly lowered her head, cooperatively squeezing out a few tears, her voice choked with sobs. Mother Empress, please forgive me, I know I have made a grave mistake, and I beg you not to blame my sister and the Jiang family. From behind the beaded curtain, I coldly watched them put on this show together, twisting the truth, and I found it utterly ridiculous. The Empress coldly watched the two of them perform with all their might, not a ripple of emotion in her eyes. Are you done? Then I shall invite the real victim to say a few words. Xiaoming and Jiang Shuyu were both stunned. At that very moment, I lifted the curtain and slowly walked in front of them. Your Highness the Crown Prince, little sister Shuyu, I'm truly no match for your ability to twist the truth. Xiaoming and Jiang Shuyu snapped their heads up, and the expressions on their faces the moment they saw me were truly a sight to behold. Especially Jiang Shuyu. The color on her face instantly drained away. She pointed at me, lips trembling, unable to utter a word for a long time. Yu Jiang Wangshu, how can you be here? Xiaoming's expression also looked extremely grim. He narrowed his eyes, his tone filled with great displeasure and accusation. Jiang Wangshu, I truly didn't expect you to be so shameless, coming to complain all the way to Mother Empress. What? You regret it now? Want to beg Mother Empress to let you into the Eastern Palace? The Empress looked at him, her eyes full of disappointment, and grabbed a teacup and threw it at him. Regarding the Jiang family's matter, I have already sent people to investigate it clearly. You still want to deceive me? Wangshu merely entered the palace to state her case to me. What has she done wrong? Xiaoming was caught off guard and was hit squarely by the teacup. Fresh blood immediately started to seep from the corner of his forehead. He snorted coldly, his tone full of disdain and mockery. Mother Empress, your son truly doesn't understand. Why do you and Father Emperor insist on having your son marry Jiang Wangshu? Is it just because of that peony mark on her forehead? Now that the mark is ruined, whether it was real or fake, she is already nothing. Saying that, he turned to look at me. Jiang Wangshu, you are not as gentle and courteous as Shuyu, nor do you share the same feelings with me as Shuyu does. You are not worthy of my position of crown princess. He vented all the dissatisfaction that had been pent up in his heart for a long time in one go. In his opinion, I had merely relied on an illusory peony mark to snatch away the position of crown princess that should have belonged to Jiang Shuyu. On the surface, Jiang Shuyu was constantly trying to persuade Xiaoming on the side, but a hint of joy flashed in her eyes. The Empress took a deep breath, forcefully suppressing the anger in her heart. She looked at Xiaoming coldly and asked, word by word, Xiaoming, I will ask you one last time. Do you truly intend to accept Jiang Shuyu as the crown princess? Her voice was calm, betraying no emotion. Xiaoming glanced at the tearful and pitiful-looking Jiang Shuyu beside him, and unconsciously straightened his spine. Your son has already consummated the marriage with Shuyu, so I must be responsible for her. Shuyu is virtuous and of good character. She will surely be a good and capable wife to your son. After speaking, he looked down at me from his superior position. As for Jiang Wangshu, your son is not a heartless person. If Mother Empress likes her, your son can take her as a side consort, which can be considered giving her an explanation. The Empress shot him a faint glance, her gaze so deep and cold that it sent an inexplicable chill down Xiaoming's heart. Since your mind is made up, I will say no more. The imperial edict will be issued in the coming days. You may take Lady Jiang and withdraw. Xiaoming was overjoyed and left, pulling Jiang Shuyao along with him. The empress has no son, so in the future she can only rely on him. How could she have a falling out with him over a woman? Only after they had completely disappeared outside the hall did the empress take my hand. Sure, it's lucky I have you to help me nurse my body back to health. Otherwise I'm afraid I would never be fated to have children in this life. She stroked her lower abdomen, and a soft glow flashed in her eyes. Then she looked at me worriedly again. Out with the old, in with the new. Sure, don't be heartbroken over Xiaoming. Don't you worry, that blind Xiaoming can't see how wonderful you are. Mother Empress will pick another good one for you. It's not like he's the only prince in the palace. I nodded and leaned on the empress' shoulder. Whoever obtains the sanctus can obtain the world. From the very beginning, it was never that whoever the crown prince marries becomes the crown princess, but rather, whoever I marry becomes the crown prince. After the morning court session, the empress immediately went to the imperial study to request a decree from His Majesty on my behalf, settling the marriage between me and the first prince, Xiaochen. Sure, don't go back to a filthy place like the Jiang residence. I have already sent a message to the Duke of Gui's residence. You will stay there and wait for your marriage, and you will be married off as the young miss of the Duke of Gui's residence. I nodded gratefully, feeling a bitter taste in my heart. My own family, with whom I share a blood bond, would scream to beat or kill me at a moment's notice, wishing I had never existed. The Empress and I have known each other for less than a year, yet she can put herself in my shoes and think for me. After performing a grand salute to the Empress, I left the palace in the carriage from the Duke of Dingguo's manor. I had planned to go to the Jiang manor first to retrieve my medicine chest, but I ran into Jiang Shuyu and Xiaoming, who were also there. Before I even got close, I heard Jiang Shuyu's voice. Mother, you don't have to worry about older sister. His Highness has already promised that in a few days, he will pick an auspicious day to let her enter the Eastern Palace as a side consort. This way, older sister will have some support for the rest of her life, and we sisters can also look out for each other. Mother's eyes welled with tears as she lovingly caressed Jiang Shuyu's hand. It's still my Shuyu who is sensible. If your older sister were half as considerate as you, I wouldn't be. When she caught sight of me, her words came to an abrupt stop. I gave them a cool glance, said nothing, and turned to walk towards Tinglong Courtyard, only to find my things had already been carelessly tossed at the entrance of Tinglong Courtyard. When Jiang Shuyu's maidservant saw me, she stared at me even more arrogantly. Young miss, don't look at this servant with those eyes. This servant is only following orders. It was the master and madam who ordered it, saying Tinglong Courtyard has good lighting. My miss is now the crown princess. Even if she occasionally returns to the Jiang manor for a short stay, she must live comfortably, so they ordered Tinglong Courtyard to be renovated. I picked up the medicine box and was about to leave, but Jiang Shuyu, who had followed me, grabbed my arm and forcefully stuffed a wedding outfit into my hands. Sister, although a side consort's entry shouldn't be extravagant, this is a once-in-a-lifetime event for you. I personally picked this side consort wedding outfit, and I hope you like it. Her face was all smiles, as if she truly saw me as her own dear sister. I sneered inwardly, shook off her hand, and threw the wedding outfit on the ground. When did I ever say I would marry Xiaoming as a side consort? When I shook her off, Jiang Shuyu conveniently fell into Xiaoming's arms, looking at me with a hurt expression. Seeing Xiaoming's expression gradually darken, father repeatedly put on an apologetic smile, pulling me and trying to make me kneel before Xiaoming. Wangshu, don't be ungrateful. For a woman with a ruined face like you, it's your blessing that His Highness is willing to take you as a side consort, and you're still being picky. Hurry up and kneel to give thanks. In the future, when you go to the Eastern Palace, you must serve His Highness and Shuyu well, and fulfill your duties as a concubine. I shook his hand off, looked coldly at their hypocritical faces, and suddenly burst out laughing. Since the Jiang family is so ashamed of me, then after today, I will no longer be a daughter of the Jiang family. Dad was completely enraged by my attitude and raised his hand to slap my face, but I dodged it with a quick move. He could only glare helplessly from behind, pointing at my retreating figure and cursing. Jiang Wangshu, if you dare to take even half a step out of this house today, from now on, the Jiang family will act as if we never had you as a daughter. I paused in my tracks, took off the jade pendant unique to the Jiang family from my waist, and casually tossed it to a servant. This action almost made mother faint from anger, but Jiang Shuyu watched all of it with schadenfreude, her eyes filled with glee. Just then, a clear and somewhat majestic female voice came from outside the courtyard. Earl of Yongning, Princess Anyang, personally bestowed the title by His Majesty. is not someone the Jiang family can scold as they please. Everyone looked towards the entrance, their expressions changing. Xiaoming was stunned for a moment. That was his mother, the Empress' personal lady-in-waiting, Auntie Rong. Why would she suddenly come to the Jiang residence? Princess Anyang, who could that be? Auntie Rong's gaze swept coldly over everyone, finally landing on the tacky peach-pink wedding dress on the floor. She was the Empress' most trusted lady-in-waiting and held considerable prestige in the palace. Even Xiaoming had to show her some respect. Seeing her staring at the wedding dress and holding an imperial edict in her hand, Xiaoming immediately jumped out to explain. Auntie Rong, Shiyu meant well by sending Jiang Wangshu a wedding dress. It was supposed to be a friendly gesture, but Jiang Wangshu didn't appreciate the kindness and rejected it. It's just so rude. Once I, the crown prince, return to the palace and report to my father emperor, I will decide whether or not to accept Jiang Wangshu as a secondary consort. I sneered inwardly. It seems he mistakenly thinks that this imperial edict is from His Majesty, bestowing me upon him as a secondary consort. Jiang Shuya's tears fell right on cue, yet she still put on an act of looking out for me. How can that be? If His Highness calls off the engagement, a disfigured woman like my sister, even a common brute wouldn't want to marry her. What would become of her then? As Jiang Shuyu spoke, she knelt down with a thud, looking tearfully at Xiaoming. And of course, Xiaoming fell for it. Yao Yao, don't cry. At worst, I, the crown prince, will just let Jiang Wangshu enter my residence as an attendant concubine. My eastern palace can still afford to support an idle person. An attendant concubine isn't registered in the imperial family records, so she can't ever outrank you. The two of them got more and more carried away, deciding my entire future right over my head, the person actually involved. And yet, my parents were overjoyed. My father even pushed me, saying, thanks to His Highness' generosity, since it's just an attendant concubine, you should follow His Highness back to the Eastern Palace today. No need to be picky about ceremonies. I couldn't help but laugh out loud, and exchanged a look with Aunt Rong. This kind of family, let alone in this life, I don't want to see them again even in the next. Aunt Rong gave Xiaoming a deep look. His Majesty has already enfeoffed Miss Jiang as the Princess of Anyang County. The princess marriage will be decided by His Majesty, and neither you nor the Earl of Yoning can influence it. I, this servant, am here today to deliver a decree on behalf of His Majesty the Emperor and Her Majesty the Empress. She cleared her throat, and everyone knelt to receive the decree. By the grace of heaven, the Emperor proclaims, the Princess of Anyang County, Jiang Wangshu, is dignified and poised, virtuous and harmonious. She is hereby granted in marriage to the first imperial son, Xiao Chen, as his official consort. In consideration of her status as the Empress' adopted daughter, she is permitted to be married from the Duke of Dingguo's residence. The wedding shall be officially completed in 7 days. Xiaoming's face turned pale and green. Although he disliked Jiang Wangshu, he had just moments ago reluctantly accepted her into the Eastern Palace as a concubine. Now that Jiang Wangshu has been betrothed to his eldest imperial brother, wouldn't he have to address Jiang Wangshu as imperial sister-in-law according to etiquette in the future? Father's face was ashen, while mother was rather relieved. After all, in her eyes, I had found a good match, which could also alleviate some of the guilt in her heart. Aunt Rong snorted coldly. 2 imperial consorts from one family. The Earl of Yoning should be happy. I, this servant, also have an imperial edict here for the Earl of Yoning. This one is to strip the Jiang family of the title Earl of Yoning and banish the Jiang family from the capital city. Daddy's hands were trembling. He almost couldn't even hold the imperial edict steady, his eyes glaring fiercely at me. It's you. It must be you who badmouthed me in front of the Empress. Now that the Jiang family has fallen, how can you possibly get away unscathed? Auntie Rong showed a look of disdain. Lord Jiang, watch your words. According to etiquette, you should be bowing to the princess. How can you speak so insolently? After saying that, she respectfully bowed to me. Princess, Her Majesty has already informed the Duke's residence. The Duke is eagerly waiting for you to go over. I curved my lips, picked up my medicine box and walked out, getting into the carriage from the Duke's residence, leaving behind only a group of dumbfounded people. Xiao Chen and I married without a prior engagement, yet he didn't skimp on any of the proper formalities, and even did his best to add many betrothal gifts for me. Miss, I heard this lynx was hunted by the first prince himself. Lynxes are rare these days, especially in this kind of icy and snowy weather. The first prince is truly devoted to you. The maid chattered on as she helped me with my hair and makeup. My heart stirred. Back when Xiaoming and I were engaged, I didn't understand these customs. When a man personally hunts a lynx for his fiancée, it shows his love and respect for her. Later I found out that the betrothal beast Xiaoming sent was a weasel and not a lynx, but Xiaoming just made excuses to brush it off, only saying that lynxes are hard to find, so he was just unwilling to put in the effort for me. On the day of the grand wedding, the Empress personally came to the Duke's residence to comb my hair and put in hairpins for me. Sure is getting married, so I, as a mother, must naturally send you off as a member of your maternal family. She held my hand, her face full of loving affection. Although Chainer has an ordinary appearance, he is a sensible person. I am at ease with you marrying him. After saying that, her eyes were slightly red, and she personally placed my hand in Xiao Chen's. My heart soured a little. Although we haven't known each other for long, I truly regarded the Empress as a mother. Alright, adoptive mother, am also marrying into the palace, so from now on I can always be with you. The Empress broke into a smile through her tears and gave me a doting glance, still calling me adoptive mother. My cheeks grew hot, and I softly called out Mother Empress. Everyone present laughed. The auspicious time has arrived. An official from the Ministry of Rites shouted at the top of his lungs. I bid farewell to the Empress and followed Xiaochen outside. Just as I was about to board the wedding palanquin, Xiaoming suddenly arrived on horseback. Wanshu, are you really going to marry my imperial brother? These past few days, he had been restless in the Eastern Palace, waiting for Jiang Wangshu for a full 7 days. I didn't expect Jiang Wangshu to be so composed, never once yielding to him. Although he had no feelings for Jiang Wangshu, the rumors among the people forced him to be vigilant. Wangshu, as long as you return to my side, I can marry you as a consort of equal rank. In the future, you and Xu Yao will be consorts of equal standing. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Didn't you want to marry me in the first place? It's clear you like me, don't you? He nervously stared at the peony mark on my forehead, which had already recovered. His intentions were obvious. I sneered, stroking my forehead. Your Highness is just unwilling to let me, someone who might possess the peony fate, marry another and threaten your position as crown prince, aren't you? An awkward expression flashed across his face, but he quickly regained his composure. In any case, I am willing to marry you. If you marry my imperial brother, you'll only be a prince's consort. How could that be as glorious as being my crown princess? Xiaochen shielded me behind him, looking coldly at Xiaoming. He had been in the army for years and was enfeoffed as a king early on. The murderous aura he exuded kept people from daring to approach. Sure is my royal consort. For the crown prince to act like this. Are you trying to forcibly snatch your imperial sister-in-law? Xiaoming gritted his teeth. The ceremony isn't complete, so the marriage doesn't count. Imperial brother, although you are the elder brother, I am the crown prince. How dare a mere subject like you fight with me for a woman I have taken a fancy to? He spoke with righteous confidence, but didn't notice the Empress' expression. The crown prince isn't in the Eastern Palace. I suppose he wasn't able to receive the imperial edict. This morning, His Majesty sent a palace official to the Eastern Palace to deliver the edict deposing the crown prince. I'm afraid official Cui is probably still waiting in the Eastern Palace now. Xiaoming's pupils contracted, and all the blood drained from his face. Just at that moment, a servant boy from the Eastern Palace came to report. Xiaoming was completely dumbfounded, watching helplessly as Xiaochen helped me onto the wedding palanquin. Within a few days, the edict to enfeoff Xiaochen as crown prince was issued. On the day of the crown prince's investiture ceremony, I, dressed in the ceremonial robes of a crown princess, was led into the grand hall by Xiaochen. All the ladies present envied my good fortune, because I had been adopted as a goddaughter by the Empress. Even after being abandoned by Xiaoming, I still got to marry the new crown prince. The deposed crown prince and Jiang Shuyao, on the other hand, became the laughingstock of the crowd. Some people are probably regretting it so much their guts are turning green. To be deposed less than 10 days after becoming the crown princess, that's truly unprecedented in our great Qian dynasty. She's a clever one, isn't she? At worst, she's still an imperial prince's consort, as the adopted daughter of a vice minister's manor. How could she latch onto the royal family's thigh if not for such a desperate move? The people around were whispering, but Jiang Shuyao seemed not to hear them, staring blankly at the crown princess official attire on me, a glint in her eyes. The auspicious time for the investiture ceremony is approaching, but His Majesty has yet to be seen. The Empress stared at the entrance of the hall and frowned. To avoid any unexpected complications, she ordered the ceremonial official to begin the ceremony as planned. Wait, Xiaoming sauntered in, unexpectedly wearing a python robe that only the crown prince could wear. Xiaochen plotted to murder our father emperor and is unworthy of being the crown prince. Before falling into a coma, our father emperor had already verbally passed the throne to this prince. Men, seize this traitor Xiaochen. The imperial guards surrounded the grand hall in an instant. Anyone could see that while he claimed to be quelling a rebellion, he was actually staging a coup, yet no one dared to make a move. Xiaoming, you disloyal and unfilial son, harming your lord and father, do you really think there's no one left in our great gone? The empress was overcome with anger, pointing at Xiaoming's nose as she cursed. Instead of getting angry, Xiaoming smiled. Today, the families of the court officials are all within this hall. Do you think they would dare make a rash move? Mother Empress, I advise Mother Empress to hand over the imperial seal of the realm and stamp this edict of abdication. Otherwise, I cannot guarantee that you will remain the carefree Empress Dowager, Lord and Father. His birth mother was of humble origins, which led to him also being looked down upon in the palace. After finally being valued and obtaining the position of crown prince, he was then deposed so carelessly. When did that old codger ever see him as his own son? Xiaoming looked at me, his eyes flashing with deep hatred. Just because I didn't listen to you and marry Jiang Wangshu as the crown princess, you and Father Emperor deposed me as the crown prince. By what right? Because Shu'er is the saintess designated by the grand preceptor. He who has the saintess can have the world. The empress looked at Xiaoming with disappointment, her words stunning everyone. I gave you a chance, but you still chose to abandon Shu'er. Who is there to blame? Hearing this, Xiaoming was silent for a long time, then took a deep breath and walked to my side. It doesn't matter. None of that is important anymore. Jiang Wangshu, whether you're the saintess or not, whether you have the peony fate or not, you have to stay by my side for the rest of your life. He stared at me with a burning gaze, but in the depths of his eyes, there was only endless greed. Too bad. I'm a person, not an object he can use as he pleases. I raised an eyebrow and looked him straight in the eye. Xiaoming, do you really think your plan is flawless? A confident smile played on his lips as he scanned the crowd as if they were ants, then plopped down on the throne. Father Emperor is already on his last breath, and the imperial guards in the palace are all mine to command. Who else can stop me? As soon as his voice fell, the main hall doors were forced open. Jinyun Guard, on my command, take this treacherous son down for me. The Jinyun Guard are the emperor's personal guards, who cannot be mobilized without an imperial command. The situation was reversed in an instant. Xiaoming watched all this in shock, especially the emperor standing alive and well right in front of him. How is this possible? There's clearly no antidote for Duampa-san. I took a bottle of antidote from my robes and threw it in front of him. Do you know who created Duampa-san? Of course I know. It's the world's #1 poison master, Luo Jiao, but he went into seclusion long ago. Besides him, this poison can only be cured by that legendary apprentice he took. Xiaoming's face was deathly pale as he sized me up in disbelief. I am precisely Luo Jiao's apprentice. Before entering the palace, I had been following my master and studying medicine on Sun Mountain. Before I left the mountain, my master gave me a whole bunch of antidotes to keep me safe. Fortunately, today I noticed the little eunuch in Qianyuan Hall acting abnormally, which made me more vigilant and able to save the emperor in time. Guards, seize Xiaoming and throw him in the death row prison. All persons related to the Prince Chi's matter are to be imprisoned pending trial. Jiang Shuyu was dragged away, weeping and wailing, knowing that all was lost. Xiaoming's face was ashen. He immediately snatched a long sword from a guard's hand and slit his own throat, his eyes still staring unwillingly. Before the Jiang family was exiled, my father and mother came to the Eastern Palace to beg me once, but it was for Jiang Shuyu. Although Jiang Shuyu didn't play a major role in the coup, she knew about it and failed to report it. Moreover, she is the princess of Qi and is close with Xiaoming, so His Majesty ultimately ordered her to be given a cup of poisoned wine. I felt vexed, so I shut my doors and refused to see anyone. In the end, Jiang Shuyu didn't manage to die. I heard she fainted from fright in prison and was found to be pregnant. The crime does not extend to an unborn child, so His Majesty permitted her to face death after giving birth to the child. Seeing that I wouldn't be swayed by either threats or pleas, Mother simply made a scene at the Eastern Palace gate, telling everyone she met that I had abandoned my family after becoming the crown princess. Your Highness, are you really going to let Madame Jiang ruin your reputation like this? I sighed. I didn't originally want to push things to the extreme, to leave everyone with some goodwill. It seems, I have to face the truth after all. Seeing that I had finally come out of the palace gate, Mother immediately rushed towards me, but a handmaiden was quick enough to stop her. You ungrateful wretch, ever since you came back, not a single thing has gone smoothly for our Jiang family. If it weren't for you, how would Xiaoming have risked rebellion? And your younger sister wouldn't have ended up in such a state. It's all because of you. She cried her heart out, looking like she wanted to pounce on me and strangle me to death. The hatred in her eyes made my heart tremble. After calming myself down, I looked at her again. Mother, have you never thought about why, starting from the imperial edict for our marriage, father frequently arranged for Xianxia and Xiaoming to meet by chance? If Mother Queen hadn't become suspicious and sent people to investigate, I'm afraid I would never have known the truth. From the very beginning, I felt it was strange. Even though I didn't grow up in the Jiang family, I am, after all, their own flesh and blood. When the imperial edict came down, although Mother was unhappy, she actively persuaded Xianxia to accept the reality, and even started to help Xianxia look for a husband. But father, from beginning to end, wanted Xianxia to snatch my marriage. Not only did he frequently invite Xiaoming to our residence in my name to create opportunities for Xianxia, he even plotted for Xianxia to fall into the water, so Xiaoming would carry the drenched Xianxia ashore in full public view. This is what completely solidified Mother's determination to help Xianxia marry into the Eastern Palace. I ordered a lady-in-waiting to bring a stack of letters, all of which were correspondence between father and a woman, from over 10 years ago to the present. It has never stopped in these 10+ years. Before marrying Mother, father already had a woman he loved. However, that woman came from a brothel, so the Jiang family refused to let her in and arranged for father to marry Mother instead. And Xianxia is their daughter. To give Xianxia a good background, father orchestrated my disappearance. Under the guise of consoling Mother, he brought Xianxia into the Jiang family in a perfectly justifiable way. Mom flipped through those letters that had already turned yellow, tears streaming down her face as she let out a self-deprecating laugh. But she didn't even dare to look at me, and returned to the Jiang family, utterly crestfallen. I heard she had a huge fight with Dad, wrote a divorce document, and went to the Taoist temple outside the city all by herself. A year later, I gave birth to a daughter. Among the many congratulatory gifts, I immediately spotted that out-of-place wooden box. Opening it, I saw it was a pair of longevity locks. I smiled as I put it on my daughter. Looking at her soft, pink face, I thought, I had let it all go long ago.